What's up, Passion students? My name is Reed, and I'm a student pastor at Gwinnett Church, and I love what you guys are doing here at Passion Students, and I'm so excited to be a part of Group Week. And I really love the conversation that you guys are having right now about who Jesus says that he is. I think that this is such an important conversation for us to be having, because I think that as we discover more about who Jesus is, we're going to learn about who we are as well. And so we've been looking together. You guys have been looking at some of these I am statements in the Gospel of John. And today I'm excited to look at one of the I am statements that happens in John chapter 6. Now, before we get into the actual statement, what I'd love to do is just give you a little context to the conversation. In John chapter 6, Jesus has just performed one of his most famous miracles. It's the feeding of the 5,000. You're probably familiar with it. Jesus, the crowd, a bunch of people, and Jesus takes this kid's Lunchable and multiplies it and feeds this massive audience of people. Everyone gets their fill. It's incredible. It actually shows up in all of the Gospels. And so this has just happened, and Jesus and his crew, they decide, hey, we're going to go and we're going to take our message and ministry over across a lake to another town to reach some more people. Now, the crowd that was there in attendance that day, that had just had their bellies filled, they hear that Jesus is going to be going to this other town, and so they decide, hey, you know what? Maybe we should go over there and we can get another free meal out of the deal. And so they actually follow Jesus to where he's going to be. And that's where we're going to be picking up our conversation, right? It's on the other side of the lake where this crowd has now gathered to where Jesus has just moved on to. And so here's how the conversation starts. This is in John chapter 6, verse 25. It says, when they found him on the other side of the lake, they asked him, Rabbi, when did you get here? And Jesus answered, very truly, I tell you, you're looking for me, not because you saw the signs I performed, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill. Now pause real quick, right? So this crowd is over there where Jesus is at, and Jesus shows up and they try to play it off as if they didn't know he was going to be there. They're almost like, oh my gosh, Jesus, like, how did you get here? And it's crazy, right? Like they're trying to play. It's kind of like when you know that girl or that guy is going to be at the party, and so your friends say, oh my gosh, like you got to be there, and then you play it off like you didn't know they were going to be there, like, oh hey. And that's what happens with this crowd. And Jesus cuts straight through all of that because he knows our motivations. He knows our desires. He knows what's really going on. He knows why we're really showing up. And so he looks at this crowd and he addresses them and he says, hey, look, I know why you're here. Like, I know why you're here. He says, look, you came here not for me, and this isn't any surprise. You're here because you're hungry. You're here because you're hungry, and you had your fill a little while ago, but now you're hungry again, and you think a full belly is going to fill you up. You think that a full belly is going to fill your life. And so Jesus is addressing them, and he's like, look, I know why you're here. It's because you're hungry. Now, the truth is, like, every single one of us, we're hungry. Every single one of us, we're hungry for something in life. Maybe it's not bread, right? But we're all hungry for something. We've all got this deep-seated hunger for love or acceptance, for worth or for purpose, right? Like we're hungry for something, and we're looking to things around us to try to fill us up. Very similar to this crowd, right? Maybe for you, you're looking in the form of a relationship. Maybe you're looking in the form of accomplishments, or maybe you're looking for acceptance into a group. Maybe you're looking to fill that hunger with something that's going on around you. Maybe it's substances, maybe it's friendships, parties, whatever it is, right? We're all hungry for something, and we're looking to things and people around us to try to fill us up. And Jesus speaks directly to that need, and he says, look, I know you're hungry. He says, I know that's why you're here. Now, he keeps going. He says, do not work for food that spoils, but for food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give to you. For on him, God the Father has placed his seal of approval. And then they asked him, well, what must we do to do the works that God requires? And Jesus answered, the work of God is this, to believe in the one that he has sent. So they asked him, what sign will you give that we may see it and believe in you? What will you do? Our ancestors ate the manna in the wilderness, as it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. And Jesus said to them, very truly I tell you, it is not Moses who has given you the bread from heaven, but it's my Father who gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is the bread that comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Sir, they said, always give us this bread. So Jesus addresses their need. He says, I know you're hungry. You're looking for something to fill your life. And he says, but you're looking in all the wrong places. You're looking to temporary things to try to provide you with lasting satisfaction. And Jesus speaks directly to them and he says, look, listen, temporary things are never going to provide lasting satisfaction. Temporary things are never going to provide lasting satisfaction. He says, you think that a full belly is going to fill your life, but that's not going to be it. And to us, he would be saying, hey, look, that relationship is never going to fulfill your desires the way that you need it to. That accomplishment is never going to fulfill you the way that you hope that it will. Those achievements, that group of friends, that substance, like it's all going to wear off. The feeling is going to wear off. The high is going to wear off. Those things, temporary things, are never going to provide lasting satisfaction. Jesus says you need something more to fill those longings that are deep down inside of you. And the crowd looks at Jesus and they're like, look, like, give us that. Like, whatever that is, like, we need it. And this is where Jesus reveals something to them about him that's really amazing. He says, then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Jesus says to this group, he says, hey, what you're looking for, what you're longing for, what you're desperate for, that thing in you that needs love and acceptance and security and purpose, he says, that's me. He says, look, true fulfillment is only found in me. Students, passion students, listen, you gotta get this. Like, temporary things are never gonna provide you with lasting satisfaction. True fulfillment is only found in the person of Jesus. It's only found in a relationship with Jesus. And I wish I would have known this when I was your age, because I spent my high school years, I wasted my high school years chasing after temporary things, trying to fill a void in me, only to find myself feeling empty. And it wasn't until I found Jesus, or rather he found me, that I found true satisfaction and fulfillment in my life. I found true purpose. I found love and worth and value and meaning in this life. You guys, the most fulfilling life you could live is found following Jesus. He is the bread of life. He is the satisfaction for those longings deep down inside of you. And so, what are you hungry for? I can't answer that question for you. But you've got to answer that question for you. What are you longing for? What are you searching for? And where are you looking to try to satisfy those hungers? Yeah, I want to submit to you that it's Jesus is the only one that can satisfy that hunger. He is the bread of life. Now, I hope you guys have some great conversation. I hope you're honest and you're real, and that you have an amazing group as you guys talk about this and what it means for Jesus to be the bread of life.